coming to you from the Hart Building in historic downtown Marysville. Getting into all the dirt from the gridiron game, it's time to huddle up with your host, Adam Avalos.
Welcome to Huddle Up on 93Q. We are so glad to have you here. Only 2 more episodes left, guys. We are so happy to have you. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here. 2 more episodes left. I'm super bummed about that, but you know what? Let's have a good time while we are here. Guys, I want to know first and foremost, this is a football show, Huddle Up. You know, that's what you do in football. You huddle up, but you huddle up in basketball too. I want to know, where were you guys yesterday when you heard the Luka Doncic news? Anybody?
I was at home.
At home?
Yeah.
Did you think it was a prank? Did any of you guys? I kind of thought it wasn't real at first. You watch much basketball, you guys? I mean, you're a Kings fan. You watch much basketball?
No, I'm vertically challenged,
Keegan?
so I'm not.
I'm afraid I don't either.
Yeah, not too much. I don't watch too much basketball either, but that's how big of a deal it is. Or what I was hearing some people this morning say it was the biggest deal ever. But Luka Doncic going to the Los Angeles Lakers, I just wouldn't have thought he got traded from the Mavericks. Were you stunned? Are you stunned now?
I am still, because Luka's 25 and Davis is more on the back nine of his career. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but his best playing days are a bit behind him. So to get a 25-year-old superstar for him just
I watched basketball.
Crazy.
I watched basketball so little. Like, I thought Mark Cuban was still the owner. He's like a minority owner now, not majority. Right. For those of you who don't know, the guy on Shark Tank, Mark Cuban, he owned the Dallas Mavericks, but apparently he's not majority owner, so he was not the one that made this decision or that had his hand in it. But I'm sure he was shocked. He said he was. I saw a quote from him, but I couldn't believe it. And then the Kings kind of make a blockbuster deal, because we're here about 45 minutes away from Sacramento, and they trade Zach LaVine for De'Aaron Fox. And I know a lot of Kings fans that I know are not real happy about that. What's your take on it?
Well, Fox didn't want to stay. He wanted out. He had his agent request a trade, so they shopped him around, and I guess that's the best deal they could have got for him. LaVine, and it sounds like a couple of seconds and about 4 or 5 seconds and about 2 first-round picks. So they got more first-round picks than what Dallas got for Luka. So.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked. I'm a Bulls fan myself, and so I've seen DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine play together, and I don't know, they just weren't able to do much, and so I don't really understand the thought there. LaVine makes a lot of money, but that's basketball there. Any other thoughts on the trade? I mean, it was just wild, like Luka Doncic getting traded to L.A.
Did you guys want to hear the conspiracy theory?
Yeah, let's hear that. Go ahead, drop it on us.
So far, what sounded okay is that they're trying to get the Mavericks out of Dallas, because they're in Dallas, right? Because they wanted to build a betting complex in Dallas.
Yeah.
And they said no. So they're going to try to suck as bad as possible and move to Vegas.
Really?
So Cuban and all them can build the betting complex.
But there's a lot of people who don't think the trade was actually bad for the team, and me neither. I don't really know basketball enough. I did watch the finals last year, and I know that Luka is a defensive liability, and there's lots of stuff. But just from the sheer standpoint of, like, he's a global superstar, and he's filling seats in the arena, and we all know bottom line is the most important thing, I think everybody was shocked, because Anthony Davis, your typical NBA person, if you start naming off players, they're going to know Luka Doncic way before they ever know Anthony Davis, right? I mean, you and I know him. We watch a little bit of basketball, but, Luka Doncic.
Yeah, but it's not tank now. It's just in a few years they're all going to want out, whatever their contracts are.
That's an interesting thought. That's an interesting thought.
Because they're not going to let a superstar team leave. But if they do start sucking pretty bad, like, we're just going to move to Vegas. All right, go.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, seems like they are trying to have some stuff in Vegas. I want to move on to football here. Here's what you came for, or here's what you're listening to. The show is a predominantly football show, but big news: Myles Garrett officially requests a trade from the Cleveland Browns. Those of you who don't know, defensive lineman for Cleveland. He was a defensive player of the year, and a big time player. He wrote a lengthy kind of post on Twitter, just saying, thanking the fans for his time there. I think he spent 8 seasons there. I think he's done enough time, and I think it's a pretty fair ask for him, doing it this way and wanting out. Obviously, the internet is all abuzz today. Twitter world, Instagram, everyone with all the trade scenarios. Obviously, every team would want Myles Garrett. I mean, he's defensive player of the year. He's in that same realm with like TJ Watt and Bosa and some of the other guys that are Crosby, of course. Yeah, get him in there. And but anyway, so I want to know what you guys think. Possible landing spots, Keegan, for Myles Garrett. That's pretty big news. He's going to be traded. He's going to go to another team. So what do you think, Keegan?
Well, He's still under contract, so not necessarily going to be traded, but he wants to be traded.
Yeah, they'll probably oblige, though, right?
Well, apparently the GM said when they proposed like a potential trade for 2 first-round picks, he said they would say no to that trade. So they want something very substantial. But of course, if we're going to throw it out there and we're going to just think, oh, what would be a good spot? I mean, imagine the Raiders having Crosby and him over there. I mean, that would be a pretty.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah, there's ties there for some the coaches.
And I was thinking about it. Any team that already has a bookend on one side, if they get him,
how about the Niners?
This is going to be great. Yeah, of course. Like opposite Bosa, who wouldn't want him? I mean, I think the Bills, all those teams that are like really, really close. I mean, they could use a player like that. There's no doubt about it. What do you think, Josh?
A team with money and assets like the Commanders that are on the rise?
No, yeah, exactly. And the Commanders absolutely need some. They need some people on their defense with some credibility, to add a little bit of. But yeah, obviously the Raiders licking your chops over there. Whoever gets them, they win the sweepstakes, right?
Yeah, I heard the Chargers. Chargers made some good sense because they're going to lose Mac.
Can you say a team that that doesn't work for?
Exactly.
Panthers. Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's just that good. He's that good, and no matter what, he's that good. That's like even if like he play. I don't know if he plays the left or the right. I think he's the type that kind of moves to where Bosa kind of plays the right side. It always seems like. But no matter, he's so good. You just move whoever else is there, and you figure it out. Put him wherever. But hot trade topic, and it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. I thought it was interesting today. It's like it's Pro Bowl week, and it's it should be kind of dead. I know there's always going to be stuff going on in football, but there's just never a dull moment in football. You got a guy like pretty much requesting a trade like 6 days before the Super Bowl happens. Kind of crazy, right? Big news as well. Some other big news. Keegan, I appreciate you sending me the stuff on Monday. We're seeing stuff as it comes. We try to be as like, we're getting prepared for the show and we're getting our notes, but then things are happening as the hours lead up. And so the Rams, I don't really understand this story, so I was hoping you can give me a little bit of backstory here or a little bit of thought process here. But it seems like the Rams, like we all agreed on a show, maybe it was a show or two ago, they should probably run it back with Stafford and the guys that they got. So why are we hearing now that they're potentially talking about trading Cooper Kupp? To me, that blows up everything. And if I'm Stafford, then I'm thinking, okay, well, my wide receiving core might not be as good as I thought it was going to be. And do I want to come back now? But I don't know why they're messing with this. What's going on?
They were talking about trading Stafford and Kupp both before the trade deadline, before they started winning games and got ahead. So I think it's kind of already in their GM's head that they might have already peaked and it might be time to start recouping picks and kind of retool.
But every single, maybe you guys have a different thought, but everybody that we were kind of talking to thinks that they're legit, they're ready to go. Why would you blow that up right now? I mean, I get it that their GM might have that thought process, but I haven't met a person that I've talked to that thinks that way. In fact, everybody is the opposite. Like, man, keep that nucleus in place. They're only getting better. Like, take another run at it next year.
Well, perhaps they're just looking to replace them. Maybe they're not looking to completely rebuild. Maybe they're just looking to put someone in Stafford's place or another receiver in Kupp's place.
Something happened at the end of the season. If you remember, he came back from injury at the beginning of the year and was like gangbusters for like a game or two. Then he got injured, and then he came back, and Puka came back, and he never was able to get it going again. And then I was thinking we were going to hear something like maybe he had a nagging injury or something like that, but now you just hear they're thinking about trading him. So is this a situation where maybe something's going on in the background that we don't know?
Well, one of the things is that Kupp is actually... So if they trade him, the new team would inherit his $20 million salary in 2025 and then $19.85 million in 2026, unless they negotiated something in the contract. So they do owe him some money.
Yeah.
So if they can offload him and go with maybe a younger guy, it will cost a little bit less. To your point, it might make sense for them. I think they still have a pretty good team there, and I don't know that Kupp is actually really going to be that big of a hit given what we saw, like Puka's usage versus Kupp's usage when they were both healthy together.
He didn't seem like he was targeted nearly as much toward the end of the season.
Hardly at all.
No, I want to read what he wrote on Twitter today because this kind of sheds some light on it. I was informed that the team will be, this is Cooper Kupp, wide receiver for the St. Louis Rams, the Los Angeles Rams. I was informed that it's in my brain, it just does that all the time. I was informed that the team will be seeking a trade immediately and will be working with me and my family to find the right place to continue competing for championships. I don't agree with the decision and always believes that I was going to begin and end in LA. There's a few more paragraphs here, but 2024 began with the best training camps of my career. Preparation starts now for 2025. Highly motivated, healthy as ever, looking forward for years to come. But it sounds like he didn't want to get traded. So then based on what you're saying, it's all a money thing and they're not seeing the productivity? But are you guys seeing the productivity? Would you keep him?
Not at the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I know. I didn't see it at the end of the season. How could it be depleted from the beginning of the season to the end of the season?
I just
Puka.
think Puka and Kyron Williams demand a lot of volume.
Yeah. Well, that's why that's why I almost don't want to get rid of him. But yeah, I guess, hey, you know what? They obviously know. We're going to see. I mean, next year he's either going to, get back to his old self, and then it's going to be like, why didn't the Rams just keep him for another season? I don't think the Rams, though, I don't think without him, even still, I don't know that they're Super Bowl contenders, so they are going to have to fill that spot. And Puka's good, but he got injured for a considerable amount of times this year, and they weren't able to get it right until both those guys came back.
Yeah, that definitely changed their season. I think that the usage of Cup, though, definitely towards the end of the season, they didn't really seem to even look his way. They rather went Tyler Higbee, and then obviously a lot of focus on Puka. Like Josh had said, Kyron was doing a lot of the work as well, and then even DeMarcus Robinson was kind of getting in the mix.
Yeah.
So I don't think that for them, they don't see him as a long-term prospect. Maybe they offload him now. Maybe they free a little money up and they get someone a little bit cheaper.
Man, well, I'd love to be part of that.
Well, that's what I see. I see them going and getting younger because, the top 50 receivers, I think 7 of them are over 30. So they're just going to get younger, and they need to, in my opinion. Like you said, offload it, get rid of that money, go get T. Higgins, go try to trade for DK if you can.
Yeah. T. Higgins would be good.
Yeah. A good fast receiver. I think that would complement well to Puka.
Absolutely.
Are the Rams there with their cap, their cost cap, and so maybe they're trying to figure out.
They can't be at the top of the cap, can they?
Yeah.
They just lost Aaron Donald last year. They should have some room. I don't know.
To me,
it seems kind of odd to me. That's why.
To me, it's all about riding Stafford until the wheels fall off, right? And so you got to put a team. Anytime you have Stafford, it's kind of like somebody like Phillip Rivers, even though he never won a Super Bowl. Stafford's better than him. But until they don't have Stafford anymore, I think they need to put the best team on the field. That's why I was just a little bit shocked that they're speaking about trading him, because what they're probably going to get in return is draft capital, which doesn't help Matthew Stafford, right? That's a guy that's coming along. But, there's different ways to look at it. I'm not exactly sure what their general manager is basing this on, and they probably have more intimate knowledge of what's going on with Cooper Kupp. I just thought he looked really good at the beginning of the season.
He did, but just to touch on the cap space, so it looks like $38 million. But I think the best chap on this is old Chunk over there, who cap space, these guys can just renegotiate at any time.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, the cap space, but it's like, next day it's like deal done and we delay the money or
kick it down the road like the Niners do.
The Saints is like negative $75 million, I think, or something like that. They just rework it and give people money, and then it's back to square one.
Defer the money for 30
know how
years.
to do it.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy, though. Do you guys remember, previous years? It seems like it always, the football calendar, it's like, it's starting to just mesh with one another to where you don't know where the lines are drawn. It didn't seem like we had all this news like the week before the Super Bowl in the past, and now it's like, if I don't know, maybe it's just the incessant need for guys like me and you whose team is out of it for a while. We need something to go on, and so the Super Bowl is we're who cares about that?
Well, I think
what are the Raiders doing? What are the Niners doing? What are the Cowboys doing? And so we're always looking for these little things, and so it's huge when guys are announcing this stuff on an off day. Let's just Monday.
Yeah.
I think in the past they were instructed not to take attention away from the Super Bowl and the teams in the Super Bowl, but nowadays they don't care as long as they're getting attention.
Yeah,
everyone has a platform as well. It's so much easier.
Adam, you're right. No, you're absolutely right about that. And they got to do what's best for themselves. He just got informed by the Rams that he's not coming back, so he's not having allegiance to them. He's got to be thinking about how do I get the most money on the best team possible. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, just quickly, did you happen to read that article I sent earlier?
I didn't know. I think I was thumbing through it.
One of the writers was just for a bit of a laugh, I think, to be a little hopeful perhaps, was talking about maybe a Deebo Samuel trade to Pittsburgh for TJ Watt. So he proposed Deebo, Jordan Mason, a 2024 second-round pick, and a 2026 second-round pick.
Yeah, I think the Niners are going to have it would be a dream come true for me if they could somehow fool somebody into offloading Deebo and keeping the Ayuk. But I think other teams see exactly what I think. And I think the Niners are going to have a hard time getting rid of him. And without getting too deep into that off a side topic, I just think Jawan Jennings did enough this year. I think Brandon Ayuk did enough this year. And Debo doesn't. You imagine him on the Niners as a third wide receiver. It'll be a distraction. They're going to have to figure out something to do with him. We got to go to commercial break. I know. Tell me during the commercial break. I know. We got so much stuff to say. Come on back for the second segment on Huddle Up. I'm Adam Avalos with eXp Realty. I'm a born and raised third-generation Yuba Sutter resident who has lived in the area all my life. My office is located at 1429 Calusa Highway in Yuba City, providing commercial and residential services to Yuba Sutter and Butte counties. Whether you are buying or selling, I promise to treat you and your friends and family like my friends and family. More information about Adam Avalos Realtor can be obtained by phone at 530-933-3541 or by following Adam Avalos Realtor on Instagram or Facebook.
As we enter the rainy season and hope for rain, but not too much, we are thrilled to say that in Yuba County, we've made a ton of progress in improving our levee system and reducing our flood risk. But there is still much more to do. At Yuba Water Agency, reducing flood risk is job number one. We are preparing now for more frequent extreme storms. We're already seeing them. And we just want you to know that we are working hard to reduce your risk even more. Learn more about what the future holds at yubawater.org.
Welcome back to Huddle Up. We all agree. We think Debo is best served as a bruiser. He's just got to go out there, do what he's kind of done. But I can understand why Debo doesn't want to do it. You know what I mean? He puts his body in harm's way. He has had some. What do you have, like laryngitis or something, pneumonia this year?
Pneumonia,
something. It was like weird. And so he's he gets injured a lot. He plays very, very physical. But we were talking about that during the break. But I understand why Debo doesn't want to do it. But getting back to it, kind of a story that's been kind of going on for the last week or so, but we're going to talk about Justin Tucker. He's the kicker. We've talked about him a few times here on the show. I know how Josh a little face, but we talked about him on the show a lot this season, but not for what we're about to talk about him here for, because he's had like a really, really off season. He's probably considered, before this season, I would think by a lot as probably the best kicker in the NFL. I mean, a lot of guys, like a lot of clutch.
In history, too.
Yeah, a lot of clutch kicks. Some people think in history he's out there with Vinatieri and stuff. And this season having a terrible season, like last in the NFL, like as far as like field goal percentage and stuff.
Bad.
Only him and Moody. Only him and Moody. And if you don't want to be, you want to be mentioned next to Moody on anything.
No.
Anyways, so Justin Tucker has been accused of, doing some stuff with some female massage therapists. Not going to go into it. I was reading some more finer details of the accusations earlier today, and more people came out today. Mm-hmm. We were kind of laughing about that. You know you're in trouble when you can't keep track of the accusers. But Justin Tucker, going for a massage and maybe asking for a little bit more, and not working out right. Well, what do you guys kind of think, Justin Tucker? Is it time that the Baltimore Ravens, maybe think about cutting ties with them, because he'd have a good season, and then now there's all this stuff, but they haven't yet. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think they definitely would be. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. These are going back to like 2014 to 2016, most of them. So I think 10 in all have come forward.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a down season. This is negative publicity for his club. I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up cutting him.
Yeah, when they asked him about it, he said that it's unequivocally false. Of course, that's what he's going to say. But yeah, just like we talked about Deshaun Watson and other people, when the numbers kind of grow to this, it's just very, very hard to to say anything different. What do you think, Chunk? Kind of a crazy story, huh?
Yeah, these accusations don't just come up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So they don't all get together and be like, hey, you know who has money? The kicker.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I understand the quarterback. I mean, he was the highest paid kicker.
Yeah.
But it just got to be better, man. Go to Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. There was like even some the reason there was some other stuff that I don't have right in front of me, but that I was reading that some of this stuff is like in the public. Like he's been like banned from some of these places from going back, and so it's kind of interesting that we just kind of find out about it in 2024. The NFL statement on it: we first became aware of the allegations from the reporter investigating the story as they were not previously shared with the NFL. We take any allegations seriously and we'll look into the matter. That's what the NFL said, and the Ravens said they're aware of the Baltimore Banner's story regarding Justin Tucker, and they take any allegations of this nature seriously and will continue to monitor the situation. So he's not cut. He's still on the Ravens right now. Good thing they're not in the Super Bowl. This would be a huge story, but you guys say maybe cut him in light of this. I mean, it sounds like something did happen.
Well, the difference here between Tucker and Deshaun Watson is he's not like Chunk said, he's not a franchise quarterback. They don't have $250 million committed to him.
Yeah.
So just, you're not the risk. It's a risk reward. You're not worth the reward with all that you're bringing to the team and to the league right now.
These guys mentioned like that during commercial break. Maybe he knew that this was forthcoming, and maybe that had something to do with the bad season.
Definitely.
You think? That kind of makes sense now, though, because like his numbers, if you go through and look at him, I mean, he's like top 5 every single season, just banging them through the uprights right down the middle. And then this year, all of a sudden, it was just like, it seemed a little bit
I'd say
nervous.
Somewhere midway through the season, he started catching wind.
That's kind of crazy, but if that's true, it's just kind of, field goal kicking is such a psyche thing, right? I mean, these guys, they do the same motion over and over and over again. Can you imagine like that 3-hour practice? Like everybody else has all these different drills they're going through. And like, what else can you do?
They know the weather better than most meteorologists.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what's going on over there with Justin Tucker. You know how I feel about kickers and Moody and stuff like that. If one of them's causing too much of a ruckus and they're not making the field goals, I can't do with Moody, man. Anyways,
I knew he'd make his way into this.
Yeah,
one.
Exactly. Moody, you're not left unscathed here. Somebody go get the fire alarm thing. We're bringing him back next week. We'll reference to him somewhere next week too. I want to move on to the Pro Bowl games, guys. Like the Pro Bowl happened this week. There was no game. The way that the NFL works is that the NFC, AFC championship games happen, and then there is a 1-week break. It used to be different. They used to have the Pro Bowl after the Super Bowl, right? I believe they did.
It was either the week after.
I think it was the week after, and that was when they actually played a game, and they actually kind of hit each other a little bit. Seemed like guys wanted to play a little, but now they take 2 weeks off for the Super Bowl, and they play the Pro Bowl games. So I wanted to ask you guys. I watched a little bit. I didn't know when it was on live, but they had like little games, like like the Pro Bowl players. They came and they would like what were they doing? They did a relay race.
There's a tug of war.
There was a tug of war.
Yeah.
There was what were some other ones that you guys saw?
Punters trying to kick the ball into
Kyle Juszczyk. He should be the punter. Yeah, he did really, really good. But so you guys catch a little bit of it. I saw it on YouTube, which was kind of cool. What did you guys think about those games? The actual game itself yesterday, which I didn't watch, but I know the NFC won for the 3rd time in a row. I saw that thing. But like they're playing flag football now. The whole week in general. Is there something that you think that like if they said, hey, Chunk, you're in charge of Pro Bowl week now. What do you want to do with it to get fans invested in it, make it fun for the players? You got any thoughts? Go around the room.
They're doing the best they can right now.
Yeah, that's it.
There's too much money being made by these players, and why put their body on the line?
Yeah.
And that's their moneymaker. I mean, best they can do is maybe open it up more for some more fans can do some more meet and greets, maybe a couple more games. But this is honestly the best they can do.
I was thinking about it. I was like, well, what do we want as the fans? Like, what are we? And we're always trying to get a little deeper, like inside, like like and stuff like that. And they do a pretty good job of that. And so.
Like the WWE, when the WrestleMania just happened, they opened up like shops, like wrestling shops, so every team can have like their own little booth. I'm sure they probably already do. Maybe something special going on for your team.
Well,
more meet and greets.
Yeah. But maybe like more fan interaction and stuff like that. Yeah. And the game was in Vegas, was it? I believe. It used to be in Hawaii, but it wasn't in Hawaii. I know that for sure. It wasn't in Hawaii. But it used to be kind of a vacation. They'd take their family and stuff like that. But I was just wondering, like, man, it's so cool. Like, these are the best of the best players. They're here. Everybody except for the guys that really played in the Super Bowl. Like, what could they do to make this something that I would watch? And I don't know. I was having a hard time even thinking of something. But what do you think, Josh?
Similar to what Tyler said, just more fan interaction, get to know them a little more on a personal level outside of just what you see in clips and on little sound bites online or whatnot.
Do you even want to see them play the game, like the flag football game, or you think it's just unnecessary?
I mean, some of the games is cool, or maybe like do like a Comic-Con, like a meet cute, or like, you know, meet and greet and then like answer questions in the auditorium for like your players or whatever. I mean, that's about the best they can do.
Part of why we like football so much is because the volume's up all the way. When you turn it down for flag football or these little games, it's not going to be nearly as good.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, I don't know. What do you think, Keegan?
I don't really have a whole bunch. I mean, I
did you see any of the stuff on YouTube? Like
I watched Jackson Smith and Jigba throw a pass which got picked.
Pick six.
Yeah. Oh, wait, did you guys see one that I kind of liked was dodgeball? Dodgeball was kind of cool. Yeah, George Kittle had a blast.
I think the games are very cool.
Yeah.
I think the actual
that's fun.
Yeah, the actual like game itself is rubbish. I don't want to watch it at all.
So then we all kind of liked the games.
Yeah.
But I didn't know when they were on. Did you know when they were on?
No.
So they maybe need to market that better. And then what if they made the games? I mean, it's the NFL here. What if they made it to where there was something on the line to where we might watch, and it was like a little competitive, but something they couldn't get hurt at, like dodgeball. Like if there was like
put a little money on the line.
The NFL's got a lot of money, dude. $250,000.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
Throw it on the line on a game of dodgeball. Let these guys go crazy. But yeah, clumping it together. What do you think?
You guys are missing the whole thing completely right now.
What are we missing?
Okay, so here we go. This is a Pro Bowl, right? We're talking about the best players.
Yeah, the
players.
best of the best.
Why not throw it through the ESPN app or some app where the fans pick the fantasy team to go up against each other?
Really? Because they can't. Because like Chunk
You
was
take
saying,
the two teams that are in the Super Bowl out of it, and you throw those guys all in together up against each other just like that
in a real game. Yeah.
It could be a real game. It could be just like whatever.
The thing is, it's like all of them make so much money now as they just can't afford to even touch each other. Yeah. That was the problem before. Remember when that punter got jacked up by that? Who was that guy that rocked him? The DB, like some little punter punted, and then he came to make the. I don't know. It was just crazy. But they used to hit each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Now they don't hit each other at all. And so the last few times when they were wearing pads, it was silly. Like they literally wouldn't tackle each other. They wouldn't. And so I think the NFL was like, okay, we need to put flags on them. Like it just looks ridiculous. But now,
something needs to be on the line. You're right.
Yeah.
But I think that's the way it has to be. So
I like
those
Josh's
that are,
idea there.
Yeah.
You guys are both sort of talking the same language. Yeah.
Those that are in
like
the
that.
Super Bowl have no consequence, right? Because they're out, no matter what. And then you're putting the fantasy teams together from the remaining, 30 teams that are there.
And then choosing a game and then just putting some cash on it.
Yeah, and put something on it.
I think that would be good because these guys are all competitors. I think that they would respond to that.
Yeah,
whether
I think so too.
it's into their pocket or whether it's like a charity thing, something along that line.
Oh, I think so. Look at us. Like we play fantasy football. We play for like $50 or something like that, but nobody cares. They only
guys
care
are
about
high rollers.
They only care about the trophy. Nobody even cares about the money. They just want to talk smack. I'll Chunk.
You just hurt Chunk so bad.
Chunk, I'm sorry, man. I wasn't going to talk about the fantasy football thing.
Moody and fantasy. It's always going to be there.
I wasn't going to talk about it.
Sad.
Wanted to. So that's the Pro Bowl game. So maybe a few things that could be done to improve them, but for the most part, the Pro Bowl kind of is what it is. The guys, they can't get hurt. They're making a lot of money. Speaking of getting hurt, the NFL has set a new season low. 182 concussions this season as a result of the Guardian caps. I also added in there officiating. I think officiating is a little bit softer too, but as a result of the Guardian caps and officiating and some other probably
dynamic kickoffs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, probably that too. Dynamic kickoff. See, good point. But 182, that's down, I believe, 17% compared to last season, and it's the lowest it's been since 2015 when they started tracking that. What do you guys think? Do you guys, when you were watching the games, I'm getting a phone call. Let me send you to a voicemail. It's my CPA. She's probably telling me I did something wrong right before I came in there. Anyways, who cares? But what were we talking about? Guardian caps. When you guys were watching the games this season, did the Guardian caps bug you? I was thinking they were going to bug me.
I laughed every time I saw one.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I could see them. What's your thought, Keegan? The Guardian caps? I mean, they seem to cut down the concussions. Are they here to stay or what?
They do look a little maybe ridiculous.
Some of them, they look more ridiculous than others. It depends on the person. Like if it's a big offensive lineman or defensive lineman, it doesn't look that
They
weird.
look like they're fumigating their house.
Yeah. Yeah. But when it's like a little tiny guy and then the helmet's all big, it kind of looks a little bit silly.
Little bubble boy action going on.
Bubble boy. What do you think, Keegan?
Obviously it looks maybe not fantastic. Maybe they'll refine that over the years. But if it's making a difference for these guys and they're not getting as many concussions, I would say between the Guardian caps and then, the technology with the helmets themselves or itself, I think it's a good thing. I think we want to make sure these guys aren't getting hurt.
We want to see them,
Because just think about it, especially when it comes to like some of the key guys, like the product you're watching is not. It's not as good when you're missing those guys. So you want to keep your guys out on the field. You want to protect them. You want them to play for a long time. So it's good. It's great news.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like the way they're doing it. I like the way that it's like everybody's choice. Nobody should feel pressured to or not, whatever you individually feel about it. I think some positions, probably hit with their head a lot more.
Linemen.
Linemen every single time. And I've seen, I'm not a scientist at all, obviously, but I've seen like them do studies to where like they say like even like soccer is like really bad because the repetitive like of headbutting of the ball. So it's not really always the force of it. It's just the repetition of that. They're constantly getting hit like that. Yeah, exactly. And so
just a quick one as well, just on injuries. I think one thing they were supposed to focus on this, but they were quite bad. Joe Mixon especially had 2 hip drop tackles this season.
They missed all like 15 of them.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking. They really need to focus on that because that will injure guys long term.
That's what Godwin got hurt on.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes.
Yeah, did you guys see the new Guardian caps? This Guardian caps 2.0. They're supposed to come out. They look a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
It does look better.
Oh, I like
But
this.
I had to make sure it wasn't fake because I kept seeing them. But I was like, why would somebody fake a Guardian cap?
So he's showing us a picture in studio that's kind of like the same thing. It has padding, but it's kind of like a segregated
helmet
and it's like little squares.
Less fumigation.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. But yeah, they're going to make it look cooler over the year. This was the first year, but hey, good for them that they were able to keep down on these. I don't think it really makes too much of a difference when I'm watching the game. They don't look too bad. The NFL says today is an important milestone, but not the end of our work. Though improved equipment, rules modifications, and continued culture change will make the game safer and more exciting. You were just talking about it, so now we're at end of the season. Did you guys like the kickoff rule, or did you dislike it?
I did.
I loved it because we're seeing more kickoffs.
Straight from their website, 57% more.
Yeah, 57% more on the kickoffs. I think that's something that like those types of guys too. I don't know if they'll. Hopefully they make a comeback like the Dante Halls and the Devin Hesters and the return specialists, like the Niners were using Devo at the end and he was really good at that. He was really good at that. I was like
57% higher returns and 43% less concussions on returns.
Yeah, that one's a very dangerous one, obviously.
They're not running 100 miles per hour anymore into each other.
Yeah. And really, at the end of the day, they're all there they're trying to make a block, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And so, they cut down on that. And I like it. I like the rules that the NFL is making to make the game safer for the most part when it doesn't involve quarterbacks. I like it. I like it when they allow the quarterbacks to get hit a little bit. It seems like they're,
some of them, anyways.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I think,
Adam, were you an O-line guy? Is that why you like to go attack the quarterback, and so you're like, let him die?
Yeah, when I played in high school, I was O-line, D-line, but mostly I was on the bench. I played a lot of special teams. Ryan, who's on the show, he was on my football team. Good football player, man. DB and a slot wide receiver for our high school football team. Good football player. But yeah, enjoyed playing football. Practice and the games and just hanging out with the guys and stuff. That was fun, right? Chunky played a little football. Huh?
Yeah. 2 times San Joaquin. There you go.
I got
Section
you.
champion.
There you go. There you
Went
go.
third, but lost, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Shout out to my peeps.
We are going to go to commercial break. When we come on back, we're going to talk about this Super Bowl coming up, Super Bowl rematch. Come on up. Come on back. Huddle Up 93Q.
comes your local weather forecast from community-supported 93Q. Tonight, our skies will be mostly cloudy, with showers lightly, and with a low around 51. And winds will be from the southeast at around 21 miles an hour, with gusts as high as 38 miles an hour possible. Then showers continuing tomorrow, with a high around 53. And that southeast wind at around 22, and gusting as high as 43 miles an hour. And Wednesday will be mostly sunny, but with a chance of showers, and with a high near 56. Unsettled weather conditions are in the forecast through much of the week, as the second of 3 storms makes its way into the region. A high wind advisory is in effect until tomorrow afternoon, along with a flood watch through early Wednesday morning. 1 to 2 inches of rain is possible tomorrow, along with those gusty southeast winds. Then a brief lull in the active weather is expected by midweek. We'll have lighter winds and lighter precipitation on Wednesday. This weather forecast is sponsored by Yuba Water Agency at yubawater.org, educating young students about fish and the Yuba River watershed. For 93 Community Radio, I'm Kurt Baird. Thanks for listening and have a good evening.
Welcome back to Huddle Up, segment 3, and on the way. Sorry, I'm thinking about some other stuff. We were just talking about Myles Garrett. Yeah, I know. I had a brain pause. Want to talk about somebody from the Carolina Panthers, a former MVP. Want to talk about Keegan's boy. No, that was Chad a few weeks ago. Chad was like, Cam Newton's so silly.
I thought my guy was Moody.
Yeah, Moody's your boy. Moody's your boy. You're to the death. You're taking you and Moody that you're ride or die. No, but Chad was talking a few weeks ago about Cam Newton. He has like a show podcast. I don't watch it. You know, everybody's got a podcast and a show. You know what I mean? And you know, he was talking. They asked him, you know, if he would trade his MVP award for a Super Bowl trophy. We all know Cam Newton. You know, he was the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. Wonderful quarterback. You know, did some wonderful things there. Actually played in a Super Bowl. Kind of infamous for not jumping on that fumble.
Letting it just sit there.
Yeah, letting it sit there. That's kind of a play that he. But when they asked him if he'd trade his MVP for a Super Bowl, he straight up said no. He would not do that. He said everybody's not going to be Michael Jordan. Everybody's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's not going to be these individuals who have the luxury of saying, hey, I not only dominated this sport, but I also have championships to back it. So that's what Cam Newton said. What do you think, Chunk? Do you think he was right in saying that? Do you want your quarterback or your guy to be more of like I'll take the Super Bowl ring over the MVP trophy? Or do you understand in Cam Newton's situation what he's talking about here?
I kind of see both, I guess. Yeah. But I would still get the Super Bowl. I mean, that's you and your team's thing. I guess he gets his individual award. But I mean, it's a team sport, and you're all going for one goal.
Yeah.
And for everybody to get that is icing on the cake.
Yeah. What do you think his teammates, thought when they heard him kind of say that?
Well, I hope they read the whole entire quote because there's a little bit more to it where he elaborates a little bit more.
It does, but the knee-jerk reaction and then him not jumping on the ball and us just knowing everything about him, it just kind of tells you that, like,
it reaffirms what you thought about him.
I like him. Yeah, you're right. It reconfirms what we already thought about him. Good player. Seems like a nice guy, funny, not harming anybody, but maybe a little bit on the selfish side, right? Go ahead, Keen.
Yeah, I was actually kind of curious what the full quote was. I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead while you're pulling it out. But he added, let me remind you, Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Respectfully, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. So, yes, when you look at those guys and you say, okay, what's more important? Would you have preferred to win a Super Bowl? I think that's the humble approach. But if we're being honest, the impact of holding yourself accountable to say everybody has responsibility to do, and you can say as the MVP award winner or All-American, you've held up your end of the bargain. That's what it really comes down to him. So I think if you're asking me, Cam Newton kind of feels like maybe he should have had a Super Bowl right there, but his team wasn't good enough. Like, if you're looking deeper into it, I mean, that's what he's kind of saying to me. Like, I was the MVP. I mean, how can somebody that's being titled the MVP be responsible for not leading his team to the Super Bowl? I was the best player in the world at one point. Well, that's how I'm kind of.
I like this part at the end. He says, I know that's not the popular pick. I'm not trying to be popularized. My take is I'm taking individual success because I did my job.
Yeah, that's it.
Football is not about one guy trying to do 11 jobs. It's about 11 guys trying to do one job.
I like that, actually.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he said something bold that not a lot of people will have the courage to say. But I want to go back to Mark Gastineau.
All right. Let's hear it.
No, but and you know, and his situation, and you know, if you look at it like that, Cam Newton, you know, if he's at a meet and greet, is the line going to be longer if Cam Newton is an MVP, or is the line going to be longer if you're there to get an autograph and meet Super Bowl champion Cam Newton? And I don't disagree. The MVP one might have the better rewards for later on in life for him. Everybody's situation is a little bit different, but for him, I mean, at one point, your claim to fame is he was the best football player on planet Earth. You know, and but. A Super Bowl, he's highlighting a few people that have Super Bowls that probably we wouldn't stand in line too long to get their
definitely
autograph.
Not a popular opinion, but there's a lot more people whose name is on the championship trophy of whatever sport they're in than is on the MVP trophy.
Yeah, you're right. MVP is something that's kind of special. I mean, every year when it's doled out, I mean, that is it. You're saying that for that particular season, that guy is the best football player on the entire world, best basketball player, best golfer,
who didn't jump on the ball.
What's that?
Who didn't jump on
I know,
the ball.
exactly. Well, I think that's a lot of people's issue with him is that we see him as like,
I would have fought for my life for that ball. I think anybody else would have out there.
That's
Someone
how
else should have got
talented
it,
he was.
apparently. He did his job, so somebody else should have got on that ball.
Here's my 2 cents.
Go ahead.
It's one of those things where it's a great PR campaign right there to say MVP instead of the Super Bowl title, because he wants to make sure that he feels, you know, definitely like he is valued and justified and everything that way. I think it was him and his agent came up with this big long spiel to deflect that he's not a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, you may be right about that. I feel like he said that. It was like a snap thing, but when he, you know, maybe to try to defend himself, because he probably does. He probably lives with himself every day. We've all done something where we got so close to it and we weren't able to achieve it, and that hurts, man. You got to live with that forever. And that's like Cam Newton, you know. He knows how good he was, and he probably knows if I would have, you know, done a little less me and a little more them, we might have gotten over the hump. And he probably has to live with himself because he was special. Like, he was super special, like a one-man team for a while. Christian McCaffrey, Greg Olsen, those guys were fun to watch.
And that was the one season his 11 teammates were good enough to win a Super Bowl too.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, interesting kind of thought. I think that maybe
Peyton Manning could barely throw the ball.
Yeah, exactly. There's merits to both. We want to get into the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Super Bowl is happening this week. We were talking before the show. We watched the Grammys last night. Kendrick Lamar will be the Super Bowl halftime show. We're told SZA might be there. Anybody else? I don't know. I didn't hear anybody else, but he cleaned up at the Grammys. So Super Bowl this Sunday, Chiefs versus the Eagles in a rematch of the 2023 Super Bowl. Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show. Are you guys looking forward to the game? Go around the table. Keegan, what do you think? Chiefs versus the Eagles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every Super Bowl is exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say that I'm going to be pulling for the Chiefs in this one. I really hope that the Eagles are going to win it. It would be nice to see someone different for a change. And that's not a knock on the Chiefs. I think that they've played consistently the best football of anyone in the league. But it's just the same.
Yeah.
Let's see someone.
I want to see Mahomes taken down a peg.
Yeah. So before we get into I want to hear what we're going to get into what you guys think about the game. I want to end on that because I want to end on here's what we think about the Super Bowl. Here's who we think is going to win the Super Bowl. But I want to go into like some past Super Bowls with you guys. But I want to know your guys' favorite Super Bowl. Gary, too. Come on, get yours queued up. Favorite Super Bowl halftime show in recent memory. There's been a lot of good ones. One of my favorites was when I was like a little kid. Michael Jackson did one, and he like popped out of the stage at the bottom, and a bunch of smoke came out. But then watch it on YouTube later. I swear to you, he literally stands there for like 60 seconds, still as a statue, before he utters like a word. And that was like my favorite one. I think that was in the Rose Bowl too, or something like in Los Angeles. Moses, you know, just a quintessential Michael, man. And like early 90s, just king of pop, and all his like bedazzled like, you know, like armor just standing there. But what do you think?
Everyone was in awe waiting for it to go, waiting for him to do anything, and he just stood there and just made people anticipate for so long. It was great.
It was so crazy. I just thought that was a good one. But what do you guys think? Favorite Super Bowl halftime show of recent memory, Keegan?
So I'm gonna have to go with one actually before I really started watching football, and it's because they are my favorite band, albeit it was the earlier stuff, not their newer stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
Coldplay.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Who was there? Anybody that came in that one? I'm trying to think. Like, did Beyonce come? Or it wasn't just Coldplay though. They brought other acts out. That's always one of the cool parts about the Super Bowl halftime show. Normally, it's like, I think like a few years ago, there was like Dr. Dre and Eminem, but then it was like you kind of knew like more guys would come, and then it was like Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent and Mary J. Blige. It's like, you know, all the people that are associated with them kind of come, and so there will be like some surprises. Sometimes you get like a random duo.
Well, that's what it is now. Is who else is going to be there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like 15 minutes of. But Josh, what was one of your favorite ones?
Well, it's not recent memory, but yeah, 2004, that was a cool one. Senior in high school, and Janet Jackson and Justin decided to
and we were talking about
get a lot of FCC complaints and fines.
Yeah, was that but that was like during a heyday where like Justin Timberlake and NSYNC and like Britney Spears and them, they were all big. So it was like that was big artists. But yeah, obviously that thing happened with Janet Jackson, and that took the world by storm. I don't even remember who played that game. You know what I mean?
It was Carolina and the Pats.
Oh, was it? Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. The next day, nobody was talking about the game. Everybody was just talking about that. I was going to tell you before, you guys know what happened. You were there. You have to be under a rock. But we all think it was planned. We all talk about it before, right, Gary?
That's our conspiracy theory, for sure.
All of us agree. We think it was planned. It wasn't like Justin Timberlake. I didn't know. Anyways, all right, Chunk, your favorite Super Bowl halftime show that you can think of?
It's Bruno Mars and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, that one was good.
Yeah,
Bruno Mars is
everybody was like, yep. See,
yeah, Bruno Mars. He I think he won something last night with Lady Gaga or something like that. But they got some song together. But he's a cool artist. He kind of reminds me a little bit like of a new age like Michael Jackson. He's not dancing around, but
Short
he's kind
Kings.
Yeah. But I like Bruno Mars. But interesting. Favorite Super Bowl food, like when you guys are watching the Super Bowl or just football food in general. I'm a big pizza guy, man. Like, you can't go wrong with pizza. A bunch of toppings on it, you know, a little ranch to dip it in. Pizza's probably mine, man. Football food. I love pizza. What do you think, Keegan?
Very, very plain and boring here, but wings. I like wings.
Yeah,
I like
wings. Wings are good. Wings have gotten expensive over the years, man. Yeah. Used to be able to get some wings for pretty cheap. Now it's like 12 wings, $17. Like each wing's $1.30. You know what I mean? Like, gosh darn. But what do you think, Josh? What's some food you're looking forward to smashing on Super Bowl Sunday?
Any kind of chicken.
Any kind of chicken?
Yeah.
What about you, Chuck?
We make I don't know. I'm sure everybody has a different name, but man candy. It's those little sausages wrapped in bacon in the crock pot with brown sugar on top of it.
Like little smokies.
Little smoky, but you got the bacon wrap and some brown sugar for the sweetness, and everybody has a toothpick. Great.
What did you call it? Man candy?
It's called man candy.
I like that, man candy. Yeah, because it's like, you know, rather than having Skittles, he'd rather have a little smoky wrapped in bacon.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Gary, I didn't ask, well, who's your favorite Super Bowl halftime show?
Super Bowl halftime, Prince.
Oh, yeah, that one was good, too.
So fantastic.
But speaking of things that are a little bit risque, remember? He came out and they brought that sheet up, and then he was behind it, like playing his guitar, but the shadows kind of made it look like, I don't know, man. You have to Google that, man. There's a lot of stuff you need to Google after you watch a Huddle Up show. You know what I mean?
But, I mean, he was one of the quintessential performers.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just watching him perform, it's just like, he just inspires you, grabs you, and you're stuck.
Yeah,
so,
crazy underrated guitarist, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So awesome.
So
dude,
talented.
Prince. Yeah, I'm not really into a lot of the music. I mean, I don't know. Who would you guys like to? Is there anybody you'd like to see? I mean, off the top of your head, I'm a big John Mayer guy, but I don't think it's got to be somebody that appeals to a lot of people, and then you can bring up like a whole litany of people around you, you know. And so he wouldn't do good. But anybody you guys would like to see? Huh?
Green Day.
Yeah, they would probably do good. They're pretty big, and they could have some like other like grunge bands come out with them or something.
Yeah.
Anybody else that hasn't been there that you think would be cool to see?
Nothing.
Nobody off the top of your head. I'm sure if we all sat here and thought about
I
it,
just want a clock from when it starts to when it ends, so I can know when to come back.
Oh yeah, Josh is
too busy making his wings.
Yeah, so he won't be. Yeah, he won't be watching Kendrick Lamar. So, to the game at hand, the most important thing that we're going to talk about today, obviously, the Super Bowl is this Sunday. This is what it's all about. You play the whole season, everything, all the trade rumors, all the talk, all the preparation, it all leads to this. This is the Super Bowl, and the Kansas City Chiefs will meet the Philadelphia Eagles once again. They met in 2023, and they'll have a rematch in 2023. We all kind of know what happens, but the Philadelphia Eagles ended up losing at the end by a field goal to the Kansas City Chiefs. There was a kind of a controversial, I don't know if it's controversial, but it just was like, in similar Chiefs fashion, that Bradbury thing happened at the end. And so that was a little bit, nobody loved that. I know nobody loved that. But I wanted to talk to you guys about the last game, if you can remember that any, but like really what are the keys here for either team to win? And then at the end, before we go, we'll just go around the table and find out who you think's actually going to win. But Chunk, I want to start with you. Philadelphia Eagles, obviously, this is a huge game for them. It's a huge game for both teams. Obviously, it's Super Bowl, always huge, but they were here 2 years ago, couldn't get the job done. They were really close. I think the game 2 years ago, too, I think the Eagles they looked like the better team on the field, but once again, Patrick Mahomes just too much to handle. What do you think, Chunk?
Well, that Eagles defensive line needs to eat them up.
Yeah.
They need to put pressure on Mahomes, and they just need to not give him any time, even if he scrambles, and then hold on to Jason Kelce. Or just whatever. Travis Kelce.
Yeah, hold on to Jason, though, too. He'll be there,
Jason.
too. Just hug him for dear life. He seems like a huggable guy.
Yeah.
There's never, whenever you got like a little anxiety going on to a big, like, squishy guy,
Like a big tree.
Whenever Travis gets loose, and Mahomes just finds him, there's just so much room. He just gets open somehow.
It's amazing to me how Travis Kelce continues to get...
And then reappears right in the middle of the field. I'm like, I'm open.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't look fast on the field.
No.
He doesn't look like he's like, his cuts are super quick.
Yeah, he's just there.
Yeah, just guys just forget about him.
Hats off to him, but he just lost somehow. But they just need to cut that out.
Blends in.
They'll get it.
So your huge key to the game, it's all about Kelce.
Kelce and the defensive line.
All right, what do you think, Josh? What's your key to
For
the
me,
game?
for Philly, it's really going to come down to Barkley and Hurts in the run game.
Yep.
And if they limit their turnovers, I think they got a good chance of winning this game.
Yeah, a good run game can obviously stymie any because you can't stop a good running attack. It's their guaranteed yards. You turn around, you hand off the ball unless there's a fumble. You're just getting first downs, and so far nobody's been able to stop them. I think the Chiefs will, stop them at various times, and Jalen Hurts is going to have to step up. The Saquon thing, I always think it's interesting. I thought this the last time when the Niners played the Chiefs, but I thought, Christian McCaffrey, when waking up that morning, same thing with Saquon. Those guys really are probably the only guys in the game, running backs, who can kind of take over a little bit, who can single-handedly the most change the outcome of the game at the end. And I think Saquon that day, if he has a day, there's nothing that Patrick Mahomes can do if he's sitting over there watching from the sideline and he's churning up 5, 6, 7, breaking a 50-yard. If he's doing what he's been doing, it don't matter how good you
He's
are.
RB1 of the entire league right now.
Exactly. But what do you think, Keegan? Some thoughts on the game, Super Bowl rematch. Kind of interesting.
Well, speaking about that, I think that for the Chiefs, I think the key is definitely to take Saquon out of the game. They need to sell out and just stop him from running. Just shut him down. Josh and I were kind of talking in the break a little bit about it. So taking the best players out of the game. You can take Saquon out. You can take A.J. Brown out of the game, and then you say, okay, beat us with these other guys. And Hurts has looked very dodgy with the ball these days. He's looking very, very dodgy. But, if they do that, as Josh was saying, then you potentially open it up to the throw, and also Jalen Hurts, his legs as well.
Yeah.
He's a good runner, could potentially open up for him.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I anticipate a close game. Does anybody anticipate anything different? A blowout here? Does anybody think there's any chance that there's a blowout here?
I think the last team that has the ball is going to win the game.
It seems like the Eagles probably the better team once again, but Kansas City, you got to give that edge to Mahomes.
And the coaching as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess going around the table here, what does your heart tell you is going to happen here? And then I guess what do you think is going to happen? Are those things the same, Chunk? Do you think, here we go. Super Bowl, Kansas City versus Philadelphia. What do you think is going to be the outcome of this game?
I want the Eagles to win.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Chiefs are going to get it.
Yeah. Do you feel like the Chiefs are going to get it, based on, only the Chiefs' merits, or do you feel like there's some shenanigans, or what do you think?
Rough shenanigans.
Yeah, a little bit of shenanigans.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like a close game, maybe some shenanigans, but I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
For for Philly to really win the game, they're going to have to be up by multiple scores to where the refs can't really impact it one way or another.
Yeah.
But my heart tells me that Kansas City's going to win because they always win. But logically, I think Philly's going to be down by 3 and then have a late drive, score a touchdown with about 20 seconds left, and win 34-30.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one thing I was thinking about the other day, maybe it's just because I'm a Niners fan, but you really can't take it away from Mahomes that the teams that he's played and had to beat to get these Super Bowls, to me, are those seasons probably the most well-equipped teams in the National Football League. It's not like he's beating like slouches. Like, it's not like the Commanders accidentally got here and then he beat them and then everybody said, oh, he beat the... I mean, we all are in agreement. Like, maybe the Lions, but the Eagles were the best team in the NFC all season, and then now they're here to play the Chiefs. So, I mean, they either need to beat them or, the Chiefs just knocked off another super team. You know what I mean? The Eagles definitely have the better team, but what do you think's going to happen, Keegan? Who do you think... Where does your heart go? What do you think the actual score of the game is at the end of it? What is it all? What's the color of the confetti?
Well, touching on that, I think the Niners were the better teams when they lost
I think
to the
so
Chiefs,
too.
to be honest.
But this is
Heart, I
think that's the reason why the conspiracy is happening, because now it's not just the Niners but now it's like we're seeing a lot of really good teams who, the Bills fans, you can't blame them for thinking that their team is better than the Chiefs, and then they lose. And, all these teams keep losing. And so, that's been the case. But go ahead.
But credit to the Chiefs. They find ways to win. So it's, even if they aren't the better team, they make the best use of their opportunities. They're well coached. They're very disciplined.
Yeah. And you said it best a few weeks ago. You said, we don't even know if the Chiefs have had to rise to their full, and we still don't know. And so, until somebody beats them.
They've been sleepwalking through this whole season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's like, they don't seem frazzled over there at any point. And so who do you think is going to win the game?
Chiefs.
You think Chiefs are going to win it, huh?
Yes.
Shenanigans, or you just think they're the better team?
I just think they're the better team. Regardless of all these other little things that have happened, I still think that they've played the better football when it's counted, and that's why they win.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Chiefs are going to win the game. I think there might be a little bit of shenanigans, but I just think that the cog, the NFL or whatever momentum they have behind them didn't get them this far to be on the precipice of breaking some kind of history and then not allow them to do so. And I do believe that there's some kind of invisible aura pushing them forward a little bit. And so I think since the game will be it'll be a close contest, I think the Chiefs will get the edge just to the fact that whomever the NFL seems to want them to win.
Well, one thing that doesn't get talked to them about them enough is the fact that they only scored 30 or more points once or twice this entire season, and they only lost 2 games.
Yeah, which is like what Keegan was saying, is like they just, when they didn't need to score, they just didn't, and when they felt like that they were being threatened, they just, they kind of, came on the field, scored some points, won the game, and, was on to the next week. And so we haven't seen them be like truly tested. Even some of the games that they lost, it just felt like
this is going to be the biggest test for their defense all season.
Well, real quick, I know we got like literally 30 seconds. Mahomes' legacy, Jalen Hurts' legacy, like Mahomes, if he wins this third in a row, I mean, does that put him up there in GOAT conversation for you? I mean,
he's
getting there, Keegan?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I watch too much Tom Brady. Me personally, he's not there, even if he wins the one on Sunday. Me personally. I'm not trying to be a hater. That's just me personally. But he's getting close.
It could start being like a Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus conversation, though.
Yeah.
He wins a couple more and it starts getting
It doesn't help him that Tom Brady beat him in a head-to-head bad. You know what I mean? Like when he got to play him. But what do you think if he gets the third one, like for the resume, huge, right?
I don't think it makes him the GOAT.
No, I don't think it was the one game, but he's getting closer. And on the other side, and on the other side for that, huge for Jalen Hurts, right? Like Jalen Hurts right now, like every year people are doubting him. If he can get one Super Bowl right now over Patrick Mahomes, he could probably be like this for the rest of his career, and people will still.
I kind of feel like he'd be one of those guys who Cam Newton was talking about, though, because I don't think he's a very special player. I think he's
not a team guy.
I just think he's just kind of like. He's above average, but I don't think he's excellent.
And if he loses, he'll always be remembered as the guy that lost to Mahomes multiple times.
Yeah, well, if Purdy's going to get like hate for having a really, really good team around him and this and that and the other, Jalen Hurts should definitely too, because that is an all-star offense. I mean, best offensive line in football, Goddard at tight end,
And defense.
two like all pro wide receivers, and the best running back in the game. So so we'll see Super Bowl Sunday this week. Enjoy yourself at your Super Bowl parties. Gary, who do you think is going to win the game?
I'm going with the Eagles just to be a little bit different.
Oh
than
my
you
gosh,
guys. Josh and I we're on there. I always go for the odd thing. Come
Gary's
on.
got Baker
I'm
Mayfield and the Buccaneers this Sunday. yeah.
Well, the Eagles, the coaching staff just has to grab and have a couple heavy handshakes with the refs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Definitely look at them sternly in the eyes. Tell them, hey.
Yeah, slipping a little mafia money in there, so that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Next week, guys, come on back. It is the very last episode of Huddle Up for this season. Come on back, 93Q. Huddle Up.